Yes, hello, this is Daryl Christopher coming at you from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. This is a video for our Leader of the Dominion, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. I have a few ideas that I'm going to give you to help make Canada the greatest. And rather than wanting you to fail, rather than attack you, rather than not do the right thing, I serve the leader of Canada no matter who it is. So therefore, as a Canadian citizen, I serve you. And rather than harm you, I give you my ideas to make Canada the greatest nation on earth. Number one, we should have, every Canadian citizen should have a guaranteed minimum income. And we make it $30,000 a year for every citizen, no matter what they make, so all their needs and expenses are covered. Living, rent, groceries, etc. And rather than fire the bureaucracy that's in place in social services, we alter the focus where we will help people develop their artistic abilities and accomplishments, develop businesses, or create technology. And we will alter the education system to help in that regard. Number two, we have to change the focus of healthcare. With our growing, aging population, what happens to old people is awful. Who wants to grow old and useless and unproductive where you can't work anymore and the rest of your life is spent warehoused in some retirement home waiting to die, full of dementia and Alzheimer's because we just accept that as okay? That's totally wrong. We should be investing heavily, just like the Japanese are, in medical regenerative technologies, genetic manipulation, so that people can live like the way that they used to in the Bible, where lifespans for human beings, where people could live and work for hundreds and even thousands of years, rather than what is going on right now. I do not accept getting older and old age being that. I think the wiser we get, the stronger we get, is increasing the amount of time that people can work, and that way we can compete as individuals against corporations, where we can amass just as much wealth. We can keep working for centuries. Imagine the scientific accomplishments we could do if lifespans weren't in decades, but rather were measured in centuries or millennia. The things that we could accomplish as a people, as one of the most important species out in the universe, human beings, things we could do. And I think that our focus should be on eliminating old age rather than accepting the status quo where it's okay to get old and get dementia and get Alzheimer's and waste resources being warehoused in some retirement home. And while we're at it too, let's develop a better dental care plan for all Canadians, where the focus is not on filling cavities but on regrowing teeth. And we have the technology to do it, so why don't we do it, Canada? Another thing that we got to do is we got to deal with this debt situation that everyone's in. Believe me, I know more about it than anyone, since I've only been in the workforce as a career for the last barely even half a decade. And what we can do is make changes to the credit card regulations, where let's say you make for every payment over $100 above the minimum payment, the overall interest rate on the balance owed gets reduced by 5%. Let's pay off those debts. Let's start saving money. Let's start making our country the most prosperous country in the world. We shouldn't be all living in debt. We shouldn't be struggling. We should be amassing wealth. Every human being has the right to wealth. Let's do something about it, Prime Minister. Now, another idea I have is I think we should accept that, we want a new world order, a global united earth government to come to be. But I think in order for that to happen, and of course for the depopulation of the earth to happen, in order to restore the planet to its most vibrant life force, and so that we can save our world, where the human population on the earth has to be reduced to 500 million people, we should allow it but we should have some stipulations in order to agree to that. Number one, no one gets exterminated. The billions and billions upon billions of people already here should be sent to Mars, sent to habitable Earth planets where there is no species already there. And let's make an agreement with other nations that for every uninhabited Earth planets that are discovered, let's say for a number of 15 for every 15 planets that are Earth-like and uninhabited, Canada gets 5 of them. And I think what we should do is start moving people off the Earth and out into space so that we can survive as a species. And I think we should start making agreements so that we can get things like, let's say 25% of the territory on Mars should go to Canada. Let's start making agreements so that Earth-like planets that get discovered that have no indigenous population, we're allowed to settle and make Canadian territory. I think another thing to do too for the allowance of the Earth population being reduced to 500 million is that all Canadian citizens will be exempt from this rule, and in exchange for that, Canadian citizenship will have a price for the future, where the cost of Canadian citizenship shall be increased to $10 million. And that will pay for things such as our guaranteed minimum income, our plan to eliminate old age, and our other plans in terms of what we can do to become the greatest nation on earth. I think that in order for that to come to be, I think that Ottawa should become the capital of a united earth, and Canada should become the nation of global governance. And whether it comes to be out of an alliance with the United States, I think a much better way would be to develop an alliance for the Dominion of Canada, where we can take control and make things better around the world, would be for an alliance between Canada, a revived and revitalized European Union, Russia, and China. And that way we can hold back and control the dominance of America, which has been a disaster for the earth. You look at the Middle East, how destabilized it is. You look at all the destruction that's been inflicted upon the earth. And I think the other nations of earth, it's finally time to unite and make the earth a better place to live. And we'll enter into agreements so that we can become the global nation of governance for United Earth, that all Canadian citizens are part of the 500 million population restriction of the earth. And in order to do that, I think we're going to have to revitalize our military, where I think we should make it where every Canadian citizen is conscripted into a Canadian military force, which will have a leadership role in a united earth human army. And I think that we should start thinking not for what comes a year from now or 5 years from now, but what comes 100 years from now. We're starting to get out there in the universe, and we're an important species when it comes to what we can do to make the universe a better place. And it's time that we start acting to where our evolution is going. I think another thing that we can do is revitalize our space program and not be focused on rockets or trips to Mars, but focus on electromagnetic spatial folding technology, where we can develop gateways in Canada to go anywhere in the universe. And this will also help our indigenous population, as we can create interspatial technology so that indigenous reservations in Canada can exist kind of like the TARDIS in Doctor Who, where reservation land outside of it is rather small, but inside, because of a change to the fundamentals of spatial laws, the actual size inside the reserve is the size of the entire planet, or the size of the entire nation, so that every Indigenous people in Canada can have a start to make an entire reality their own and not have to rely on the government for help, and make it happen on their own, where they have the land, they have the resources, they have the animals to hunt, they have the trees, they have the agriculture, everything put together in one place, rather than the way things are now, where we just dump money into making things worse. Let's make things better for every Canadian. And I think that this is what we have to do as Canadians, is to take a leadership role in the world, where if we want things to be better, we're going to have to become a dominant force in the world. And you yourself, Mr. Prime Minister, are a fighter. Did you not go into a boxing match with Patrick Brazeau? You know that smiles and handshakes and platitudes are not going to change the world, but taking action does. And it's time for Canada to take action. So I'm not out to see you fail. I'm not out to go against you. You're our leader, and that's the choice the Canadians made. But I think we should start thinking outside the box and doing things differently, because what we're doing right now doesn't work. We haven't eliminated poverty. We could do that through a guaranteed minimum income program. Our healthcare system is a drain on resources. Let's eliminate old age and make it profitable so that Canadians can continue to work for centuries, even millennia, so that we can accomplish the greatest things. Let's conscript all Canadians into a military force where we're issued particle weapons, micro-nuclear devices, so that we can become a force to be reckoned with. Should we be challenged by forces in the universe that are against humanity and not our friends? And I think we should also focus on spatial folding electromagnetic technology. Let's focus on things that make Canada the greatest nation on earth. Let's stop being the nice guy, the weak, inferior neighbor to the States, and let's take over. Let's do things where we can make things better for all humans, whether they exist on Earth or they're already out there. And let's start doing changes that make real solutions to problems, and not just photo celebrity opportunities where it feels good but nothing is accomplished and resources get wasted. I think everything that we're doing right now needs a massive alteration. It's time to think differently. It's time to think out of the box. You said that you want Canada to be a global leader in innovation. Here for you now is ideas to make Canada the greatest. Now, I don't claim to be any better than anyone else, but I do have a specialty when it comes to strategic thinking and creative thinking. So use my ideas. Make us strong, make us better, take the lead, be a man, and do it. And I will be loyal to you, and I will fight for Canada to the end no matter what. But listen to what I'm saying. Think about it this way. Wars are not won with armies, battles, or weapons. They are won with ideas. So this is my war with you, a war of peace, where I'm not out to hurt you, I'm not out to see you fail, but what I am out to do is put ideas in your head. Just the same way that Jesus did against the Roman Empire, where they were once out to destroy all Christians, and yet the idea got in their head to make Christianity the religion of the empire. And that's exactly what I'm doing with you, is I'm giving you ideas. And these ideas will grow, because if they're a good idea, if they do make things better, then you will consider them. And so I say this to you as someone who's really thinking about rejoining the Liberal Party and making a push for a more progressive world, a world that is devoted to technology, to evolution, where we don't bow our heads to God, we strive to become God. And I think that in the end, it'll be Canada that makes the difference. Let our Canadian Heritage Moment advert commercials 100 years ago speak of all the changes that we made to make the world a better place and how Canada played an important role in the creation of a united humanity, a united earth, where there are no limits, where nothing is impossible and dreams do come true, where all humans, all Canadians are wealthy, happy, creative, strong, intellectual, and strive for accomplishment for the betterment of the entire human species. Thank you for your time, Mr. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. I hope very much that you've considered all I have to say.